Hello everyone and welcome to Chris's Chaos. I am your host, Chris Cortez. Tonight we are going to do previews and predictions for SummerSlam 2026, which will be held in the US Bank Stadium, Minneapolis, Minnesota. August 1st, August 2nd, talking about Saturday night, Sunday night. It's going to be good. Looking forward to it. Been waiting a long time for this one. Been talking about it a lot in my previews and predictions for Night of Champions. I've been talking about it throughout all those reviews I did for Monday Night Raw and Smackdown. I dropped off a little bit because, quite frankly, I didn't feel it was necessary for me to talk about the drizzling shits that is Monday Night Raw and Smackdown on a weekly basis. I mean, I knew I couldn't keep up with it forever, but at least, I managed to stay a little more engaged in the content. And I'm still watching Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Hey, there's plenty of podcasts out there who will give you reviews of Raw and SmackDown every single day, every week. They'll give you rumors and all kinds of dirt that they will hear every single week for you. So don't worry, you'll have plenty of content. But if you're looking for an alternative to the most important predictions and previews, and if you're just looking for something a little more savvy, a little more grace, what have you. If you're looking to maybe change the channel every now and then, here I am, Chris's Chaos. Been doing this for, a few years now. On and off, of course. Between teaching, between moving to Germany, of course, there's always something going on in my life. It's never a dull moment, quite frankly. I mean, sometimes it can be. But anywho, we're getting right into this. I'm going to talk, give you a little heads up of how I'm going to do this. Because number one, both the card for night one and night two, they're not in any particular order right now. But I'm going to go over the matches that I think are the most important first, and then kind of break it down into like the ones that, while they may not be the headliners, they might deserve a little bit of a closer look because there's not much there that's been discussed on them anyways. I mean, everyone's going to talk about Punk versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. So those are pretty easy for me. I'm going to return back to this past Monday Night Raw, which I thought was pretty terrible. Pretty shitty, Like, man, if there was ever a night for me not to review a Monday Night Raw, it was that one, okay? We'll touch on that a little bit. Lately, I couldn't help but think that it's funny, when WWE tries to be serious, I feel like I'm watching something like that Chuck E. Cheese would produce. Something for the kids that is attempting to be something for the adults. That doesn't work, Just right off the bat. If you're trying to push an Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar match, okay? At this point, we get it that Brock Lesnar is a former UFC champion. It does not mean you need to do a freaking weigh-in for this match. That was, very, very churlish, all right? It was terrible. It was a terrible promo building up to this match. It was clown shoes, okay? So they should have been a little more serious about it, and at the same time not try to pretend to be a UFC promo. This is pro wrestling. This is the WWE. Okay, it's not going to work. And if you want to get into a conversation about what works and what doesn't work in terms of, trying to be a little more realistic, that's fine. Definitely get into it because I've already thought about that as well. But leaning too much into the UFC thing is not going to work. Okay, at some point you got to kind of draw the line. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing, again, it almost like harkened back to the golden age of pro wrestling where like you have Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan, larger than life figures. Sure. Like just remember, Andre the Giant was on another level. He's in a league of his own in terms of size. There will never be another Andre the Giant. Okay. And quite frankly, Hogan's already done it. We've seen so many guys that fill the the Hulk Hogan physique, but once it's done, it's done. You can never duplicate that. So there's no point in even trying to really return to imitate it. It's not going to work. we'll talk about that, though, a little more. Going to refer to SmackDown because as of now, by the time I edit this and pump it out, this video will have been recorded prior to the go-home SmackDown the night before SummerSlam. So, night 1. So, yeah, I'll be thinking about SmackDown, but for the sake of a go-home show prior to a SummerSlam, I don't expect too much to happen that will change my opinion. I might settle on a couple, forks in the road where I might state that, hey, if something happens here on SmackDown, then this might, change my prediction a little bit. But it's, for the most part, I'm feeling pretty confident about it. So let's get right into it. With the Night 1 Undisputed WWE Championship, CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. And I think most of us at this point are thinking CM Punk's going to retain, and this is going to lead to a Cody Rhodes heel turn. I don't think that it necessarily has to happen that night, but it's definitely going to lead to Cody Rhodes eventually turning heel. But I am 100% sure that Punk's going to win this. Well, 100%. You can never be 100%, but I am betting on Punk to win this. Not literally, but you might. And if I was a betting man, I'd definitely keep my the trigger finger on the idea that Cody Rhodes is going to turn heel on night 1. And there you have it. So it should be a good match. They're both excellent storytellers. They know, particularly in the ring, they're going to have a hell of a match. It's going to be something that AEW wishes they could have had, quite frankly. So, yeah, it'll be great. The Hell in the Cell, Brock Lesnar, Oba Femi. Now, seriously, this should be a brutal match. Lesnar really knows how to excel in Hell in the Cell. Okay, no pun intended, but we're going to see blood. We're going to see carnage. He's going to take it to another limit. I would think you have this Hell in the Cell. They're going to give them more than just like 5 minutes. This is going to be Lesnar's. I would even go as far to say this is going to be Lesnar's last great match. Okay, and I can't help but think Oba Femi has to win this one. At this point, though, I especially after that stupid promo, I'm kind of like done with it. I'm really ready for these two to move on to something else, or for Lesnar to kind of like, maybe perhaps even we'll talk about what he does after he loses, but perhaps even get into a program with Gunther. We'll talk about Gunther. But I think that Lesnar is kind of, after this, what else is there for him to do, right? This could be his last match for real, but he is scheduled. I think he still has a contract, so I'm kind of done like predicting this his last match or talking about it at this point. I could care less when he retires. If he retires next year, great. If he retires tomorrow night, great. But I know that I'm pretty sure that it's been in enough discussion that Lesnar's not retiring at least for another year. I could see him he's gonna, if anything, it would make sense for him to go to Saudi Arabia and retire at WrestleMania after the biggest payday he could possibly get. Boom. That would make sense. Now, then we have another match that I think is important. Women's World Championship, Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. This one's kind of, it makes me nervous. You know why? Because at this point, if Io Sky doesn't win this, then what the hell was the Queen of the Ring tournament for? I could see them trolling us. They're so high on Liv. Everybody's high on Io too. It really makes sense for Io Sky to win this at this point. But, what the hell is Liv Morgan done with this title? And what the hell would she even do moving forward? So I'm going with Io Sky. It makes the most sense. I want it to happen. I am only slightly nervous about WWE trolling us and giving the win to Liv Morgan. Now, if you are leaning a little more to that side, then yeah, that's possible. But I'm going with Io Sky. It's the right thing to do. Now, Gunther versus Nick Aldis. I'm definitely invested in this one. Looking forward to this one. This is, years in the making in terms of Nick Aldis' return alone. Okay, if those of you who saw Nick Aldis with the NWA title, the 10 pounds of gold, the matches he had with Cody Rhodes alone should get you invested if you watch those. he was an incredible champion. Even I didn't even watch too much NWA. I didn't watch too much of the Indies in terms of like looking out for Nick Aldis. The matches I saw him. I mean, you take one look at him and you see him in the ring, and you think to yourself, yeah, he's world champion material. Always was, and he's going to have a hell of a match with Gunther. Gunther, I think, is going to take care of him in the ring. They're going to have an incredible match, and what's going to happen is Gunther is going to win. It's not going to matter if Nick Aldis loses. I mean, he's the general manager. All he needs to do is show that he could go go the distance with Gunther, and then everybody will have even that much more respect. In the past, this makes me also want to talk about general managers in the past. We've had some great ones, very entertaining ones, but for a while, the norm was WWE had kind of like, thick, not so much thick skin, but, kind of spineless general managers or chicken shit general managers, or managers who were, bold enough to kind of like step up to their wrestlers, their workers, but not quite, obviously not get in the ring with them. You have a guy like Nick Aldis who can seriously work. He's a worker. He can wrestle. He's still very much in good health. WWE had different plans for him and put him in this spot, and he said, you know what, I'll protect my health. I think I can do this, and he can. He's been a great general manager of SmackDown. He's got a great voice. He's got the look for that. So it's worked out. And not enough people really necessarily knew him as a wrestler. They're going to find out. He's an incredible wrestler. It's going to be a great time. I'm very much looking forward to it. But Gunther has to win this one. This was the match that was set up to keep Gunther out of the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE Championship, what have you, picture. It was designed to keep Gunther busy for SummerSlam, because he is going to win that WWE Championship. I'm telling you, it's just a matter of time. I told you, it may not even be SummerSlam. It's going to move on towards the later half of the year. And I'm sitting on that. Okay, I'm banking on that. It could even make sense for him to beat someone like a Brock Lesnar. But I don't even care. I don't think it needs to happen. I still think he's going to win the WWE Championship, and we'll see him versus Oba Femi at WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, and that's what's going to happen. So people are dead set on thinking that it's going to be Oba versus Roman Reigns because they're both on Raw. Nah, that's not the marquee match. There's no real story there. Gunther is the guy to beat, as far as I'm concerned. And the WWE Championship is the title to put on Oba Femi, and that's that. Now, a couple more matches that are not as big of a deal, but they are important for the future in terms of, especially particularly, let's talk about, both of them. Let's talk about the six-man tag match, the Bloodline. Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight, Royce Keys, Solo Sikoa. This has been an interesting feud. I think this has built up Solo Sikoa's growth. He's been much better on the mic. He's definitely like opening up more in his personality. I think everybody can see that and would say the same thing. He has established himself as this incredible wild card, this dark horse, truly outside of the bloodline, and yet he's becoming more and more the most captivating, interesting character. Just about a month and a half ago, he was probably the least interesting character, and I was like, man, what are they doing with this guy? And they've built him back up. I almost wish I could say the same thing about damn Gorillas of Destiny, but that's not going to happen. So we're done with that. But yeah, he's managed to gain the trust of LA Knight, and somehow Royce Keys, who was originally in the corner of Jacob Fatu. This is definitely a match for LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Solo Sikoa to win, to give them momentum. We'll talk more about that, but that's what's going to happen. Okay? We'll talk more about that after once we get into night 2. But they need to win to keep them relevant, so to speak. All right? Little hint there. They need to remain relevant. It won't hurt the Usos and Jacob Fatu. Okay? It's just going to keep this story going a little bit further, because I think we know where it's going down the line. It's not a long way from the Survivor Series, guys. We'll be right around the corner. The fall is coming sooner than you think. The 6-women tag match. Fatal Influence, Jacy, Jayne, Fallon, Henley, Lainey, Reid versus the Bella Twins and Paige. All right. man, this has been a little drawn out. I get interested when I see Fatal Influence enter the ring. I just love their presentation. Everything about them is cool. I think Jayne has so much talent. Just right off the bat, she's green, and yet she's like, I see so much potential in her. So this one I got to give to Fatal Influence, and I think it's going to lead to a final split between the Bella Twins and Paige. I think that Nikki Bella is going to be like, I think there's a lot of jealousy there that she had to give her spot to Paige. That'll come out in SummerSlam, and Nikki Bella will turn heel. Or at least there will be some sort of, maybe not a full heel turn, but just some sort of tension between the girls. They will, something will happen where either Nikki or Paige cost the match. They get into a dispute. There's something that happens, maybe a screwy tag, and it will not be the Bellas and Paige will not be on the same page. So another pun there by the end of this. So I'm going to give it to Fatal Influence. They need the win, and that will give momentum for Jayne to go after that United States Championship. Tiffany Stratton, it's a perfect idea. I love that she mentioned it. I was like, where the hell is she going if she doesn't enter into that ladder match? And she straight up called her shot, called her spot. She's going to go ahead and swing for that United States Championship, the women's championship, who's being held right now by Tiffany Stratton. And that's what I think that makes a lot of sense. Give her a title. Let them all have a title. I think she's ready. Ready for already. She's ready for a mid-card title. So just give it to her. See if she can see what she can do with it. Take a risk, WWE. Those are the type of risks you gotta take, because we already know that Tiffany Stratton is liked. I honestly don't see I see the appeal, and I see what she can do in the ring, and I see that the fans already like her. But I think they've taken it as far as they are willing to take it. Whereas the WWE is like, oh, we gotta shove this woman down our throats, because clearly the fans like her, and yes, they do. We do like Tiffany Stratton, but I don't think we like her that much. And I don't think there's that much more. How much farther can she go? I think yes, she could definitely be a women's world champion at some soon, but it's not. I don't know. It's just she's not that she's not really like white hot right now. So what's the point? Take the title off her, even if just for like a month or two. Give it to Jayne. Hot potato it. Do something. But yeah, Fatal Influence. Now, let's talk about the night 2 of SummerSlam, Sunday, August 2nd, the World Heavyweight Championship. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. It's interesting to me. The main events, they're so easy to determine. Let's see the WWE troll us and go the opposite way, because the obvious choice is for CM Punk to win. They could try to troll us because they're like, oh, we can't let these YouTubers think they know everything. I mean, it's not even just a matter of what we know. It's just a matter of what makes sense. The option could be that Cody Rhodes already turns heel even prior to losing and cheats to win. Okay, if you're going to do that, that's great. That'll work. But what's interesting is I don't think that Cody Rhodes needs the title anymore. He just doesn't. We'll talk about that. I want to talk about where Punk goes in the future after this match, after this card. Okay, that's kind of where I want to go with this. Reigns versus Rollins, Reigns is the choice. I mean, he does not need to drop this title. And what the hell are they going to do? Another disqualification where Seth Rollins wins by DQ? No, give Reigns the win already. This isn't even that important. Give him the win. Let him continue his reign, because that's what he needs to do. I do not see him dropping the title. It's not going to happen. Okay, so stop. He's going to win, and that's it. People are talking in the comment section, implying or insinuating that Seth Rollins is going to win this thing. Are you crazy? He's going to lose. So unless there is a screwy finish, which would not make sense, and it would be stupid. It's not what the fans want to see. They want to see a distinctive winner tonight on this night. Give it to Reigns, and that's it. And it will probably main event, just like Punk and Rhodes will main event. Great. And as much as it would make, also at some point it made sense for Lesnar and Femi to main event, that's probably not going to happen. It's going to be Punk and Rhodes. But this will be the main event, and it'll be a hell of a match. That much I can, also predict and look forward to. I'd be very sad if it wasn't true, is that Rollins and Reigns, they can go in the ring. Reigns has evolved over the years to, the best version of himself. Rollins can still go. As long as he's healthy, he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. It's like stable, and you can count on him to deliver a solid match. So that's what you're going to get between these two. They're going to let it all out. My dream, of course, I'm not expecting this to happen, would be for Dean Ambrose, a.k.a. Jon Moxley, to show up. Then I don't care what happens. Okay, I'd be like, this is so... he's, of the three guys in the Shield, he was always my favorite. He was the gritty one. He was the guy that kind of reminded me, because their gimmick, if you hadn't figured it out, was something along the lines of, a strike force, a kind of almost like a police. I mean, maybe you might say it's a military, but I always kind of leaned more towards like a domestic kind of control, security control measures taken to the nth degree. And of the three, it was Dean that was the most kind of like reminiscent of a hard-boiled detective, kind of noir, with his look, with his style, with the way he talks. He's always kind of made me think if anyone's going to be in a movie, it's this guy. He's the most hard-nosed. He's the most gritty. There's that. So and he was actually getting even grittier before he left WWE, and now he's in the AEW, and he's as hardcore as it gets. Of course, people like to bitch and moan about him always, gigging himself and giving himself blood and color. Okay. It's like the what chance. You at this point, you've heard it so much that you have to make that stupid joke. You can't deny he's an incredible wrestler in terms of entertainment. It's not technical. He's a brawler. He's awesome. He's one of the best brawlers of all time. Fight me on that. You know what I'm saying? To say that he's not is moronic. Okay, he's a great storyteller, and he's always, when something's going on with him, if it's done right, it's entertaining to watch. Now, I haven't been following too much AEW. I'll admit it. I'll be the first to admit it. But and I can always get into that. But we'll talk more about that on another video. But yeah, Reigns got to win this one. But before I get into the interim WWE Women's Championship ladder match, I wanted to go ahead and point out, what does Roman Reigns do after this match? Because I'm telling you, I've already said it and stressed it, that he's going to win. What does he do after this match? That's where we go back to the six-man tag between the Bloodline, the Usos, and Fatu, and LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Solo Sikoa. After Knight, Royce, and Solo win that, it's going to give them more momentum and more attention to Reigns. Reigns will have won, but the rest of his bloodline will have lost. So he will have to turn his attention to Solo and LA and Royce Keys. Okay, he's dealt with Rollins, now he's got to deal with the family business. And that's what's going to happen. That's where this is going. So it doesn't work if the bloodline, the Usos and Fatu, take care of this problem themselves. It doesn't work. It doesn't move forward. So that's what's going to happen. And that's, again, why I believe and know that Usos and Fatu will lose. And I can even go as far as to say this is going to go all the way to War Games. It would make the most sense. I don't think Division or the Judgment Day is going to be carrying the War Games match, if they're going to do the War Games match. It's going to be between the Bloodline and the team of Royce Keys, LA Knight, Solo Sikoa. Probably you could throw in Seth Rollins or any other key player, main event guy, into this. I don't think there's anything else for Rollins to do, other than be a part of this feud. It's as sad as it is to say, it's almost just another, just a redo of the build to WrestleMania 40. It got me thinking, if there's anybody that's going to challenge Roman Reigns for the WWE, the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, WrestleMania 43, if I'm not mistaken. My God, I'm losing track. It's hard to believe. I'm going to just go ahead and put it out there now. The one guy that kind of we've been invested in, deserving of a world title, deserving of being put on that spot, has the most tension with Reigns at this point, who's like the most pissed off at Reigns, it's LA Knight. They've been building him up to be the only guy that really truly doesn't want to see the bloodline emerge, except for Solo. I think that Reigns will have a program with Solo, and I think maybe even might even go as far as Solo rejoining the bloodline, maybe even, of course, reluctantly like Fatu, and they'll have one of the strongest kind of forms of the bloodline with Usos and Fatu and Solo and Reigns. It's a pretty tough group for LA to have to overcome. I don't think he'll win the Royal Rumble necessarily, rather maybe win the Elimination Chamber. But then again, he could win the Royal Rumble and have Oba win the Elimination Chamber. It would work either way. So, yeah, that's the guy that's going after Reigns, or someone like that. Okay, that's what makes the most sense, not Oba Femi. So, yeah, that's something I really wanted to make sure I covered and made sure that it was pointed out. Interim WWE Championship ladder match. That's how. Let's just say that's how high the WWE puts Rhea Ripley. That they're willing to just make an interim champion because they don't want to take the title off her. They're just hoping that she comes back healthy and that's it. And I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I just think it was interesting that the WWE is in the past was so quick to take titles off of women and men too. Quite frankly, I mean, give them a little more leeway if it's an honest, unintentional inability to work a match. Okay, if you're just bogarting the title, that's one thing. Yes, whip out the general manager and say, look, you have a clause unless under certain circumstances. Geez. You got to wrestle. But if you're not healthy, if you have an injury or you're recovering, you have a break. That's fine. CM Punk, Bret the Hitman Hart, they literally were champions on wheelchairs. You know what I mean? But whatever. We don't have to get into that. Maybe Bret Hart wasn't the champion when he was on that wheelchair, but CM Punk certainly was. Anyways. You have Charlotte Flair, Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, Chelsea Green, Julia or Lash Legend, depending on the winner. I'm just going to go and say Julia belongs on this card. She's done excellent work building up to this pay-per-view. She's excellent in the ring. I got to give it to her. For a ladder match, it makes so much more sense. But watch. WWE trolls and be like, oh, surprise, surprise, Lash Legend. If you're gonna add more variety to this match, in terms of a ladder match, I think it's a safe bet to give it to Julia. It's already hard enough to produce and coordinate a 6-man or 6-woman match. Might as well make sure you have some of the most experienced, technically sound wrestlers in the ring. So give it to Julia. That's my prediction as in terms of what's going to happen in SmackDown. Now, man, honestly, after everything that's been going on and everything that's been built up, there's only one person I think that really truly deserves to win this title, this interim championship. And let's even say she had won Queen of the Ring and she went on to face Rhea Ripley, I would have been okay with it too. It's Charlotte Flair. So Charlotte Flair is the one. She's worked so hard in the last few months. She's built up her babyface persona so well. She has to win this match. You give it to Jade Cargill, you're trolling us. You give it to Tiffany Stratton, you're giving it to someone who's just quite frankly not that deserving. What are you going to do? Have her win it and then drop her U.S. title to Jacy Jayne? That would be so stupid. Chelsea Green, come on. Julia? Wow, I mean, that would be quite a twist. But again, she hasn't deserved it. She's not quite there. I'd love to see Julia win later down the line, but no. It's Charlotte Flair. I think that's the most obvious answer. So that's where we're going with this. Yeah, don't put it back on Jade. Come on. Let's see Charlotte Flair hold this title and then Rhea Ripley come back and we get a monumental match between the two for the official, women's WWE championship. Leave it at that. As you can tell, my nose is a little sniffy because the humidity, the air quality in Germany right now is in Wiesbaden is shite and scheisse. So, my allergies are definitely acting up. I have a fan going on. You might be able to hear in the back. The curtains are certainly swinging, but it is, it's tough. That gives me, hey, if you haven't hit that like or subscribe button, please do so. I might do a post Excuse me, just my nose. I might do a post just to kind of give you a heads up after watching SmackDown if something monumental happens, something crazy happens. But other than that, this is it. This is my predictions, my previews. So let's get into the next match. Very much looking forward to this. Intercontinental Championship match, Penta versus Chad Gable. Okay, for the Intercontinental Championship, looking forward to this one. I think everybody's looking forward to this one. I think everybody believes that Chad Gable deserves this match in his hometown, in his home state, at least to win the IC title, win a singles title for the first time. It's going to happen. Penta's ready to drop this title. What else is he going to do with it? It's a given. Chad Gable's going to win this match. So it's going to be incredible. I'd be very upset if it's not anything short of an excellent match. So I'm going to talk about it right now. I got to get into this. Following the Penta versus Chad Gable match, who do you think is going to be the guy that takes it off his hands? I've been saying it since Night of Champions. Well, who do you think's being, kind of, I want to say he's kind of being preserved. He's being, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like being he's not quite put on ice. Let's just come out and say it. Who do you think is going to win this? Who do you think is going to beat Chad Gable and win the IC title? What heel do you think is ready to step up to take this guy out? Now, a lot of you think that this guy needed to be shot straight to the moon already and be in the WWE, the World Heavyweight Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship spot. Let's see him versus Oba Femi. But, dude, build him up a little bit, okay? If they don't want to show you the match just yet, then get over that, okay? Give him a title that he can work with, and that does fit him. A singles title, like the IC title, will be the first of many for Braun Breaker, okay? Why do you think he has that WWE, that world, whatever the hell you want to call it, the Raw tag title on him? It's to keep him out of the singles match picture, okay? They are preserving him, okay? They're trying to keep him busy, but at the same time not, push too many losses on him or do something to him until the time is right. He lost that match to Seth Rollins. The only thing that you could do is give him the tag title with A-Town down, Austin Theory. Perfect time, too, because Logan Paul is injured. When Logan Paul is finally healed, Braun Breaker is going to relinquish that title to Logan Paul, if they still even have him. He's going to give that title back to Logan Paul. It's going to be Austin Theory and Logan Paul as the tag champs. Breaker's the man. He's the one that's going to get a singles title quick. And it's going to follow Chad Gable winning the IC title. Eventually, he's going to hopefully have a slew of matches with the mid-card pool, which is plentiful right now. Okay? You got, all you go, Ethan Paige, right? You have Rusev, right? You got Penta still. You got Rey Fenix, right? You got Rey Mysterio. You could drop him in there. You name it, okay? You could put him up against Chad Gable. They're going to have a hell of a match. They're going to have a good match every single week on Raw. He's going to be the workhorse champion on Raw. So this is excellent. It's like, it writes itself. It's a no-brainer. Chad Gable is going to be great give him as long as you need to give him until he drops that title to Braun Breaker. He's going to drop it to Breaker. I think that if you want to talk about Oba and Breaker, I think Chad and Breaker are going to be they're going to be like arch enemies for the next few years. Okay, guys like Gable and Breaker belong to they are deserving of spots, not just flash in the pan months or here and there. I'm talking not even title spots. I'm talking about consistent spots throughout the next few years where you can depend on them. So Braun Breaker's going to win that mid-card title. And then eventually he will win the World Heavyweight title and the WWE Championship. Look, you guys, man, you want to push these guys to the moon and think that you're going to start Hulkamania or something. It's not going to happen, okay? It's not how the world works anymore. You can't just throw in somebody and all of a sudden they're just like the new deal, okay? I don't even give a damn if you're Danhausen, Okay, Danhausen's as great as he is. It's a gimmick. It took years to build up a Cody Rhodes, a Roman Reigns. Hell, it took years to build up a Stone Cold Steve Austin. He didn't just come out of nowhere. Okay, he was built. All right? It took years to build up Hulk Hogan. Okay? It took years to build up The Rock. Okay, believe it or not. All right? It took a decade to build up Shawn Michaels. So, hell, it took a decade to build up Bret Hart. I mean, like, where are we going? This is not a Goldberg situation. Damn. That's what I'm thinking you guys are coming from. You guys are coming from a Goldberg mentality where you're going to give him just 100 matches, give him like a year and a half, and then put the World Heavyweight Championship on it. Now, is that you really think that's the way this is going to go? You're crazy. So, Breaker, the next logical thing to do is put a mid-card title on it. It will work. It will suit him. Okay, and he'll be a badass. He'll be back in the scene. Okay, for you guys, you'll think, oh, well, here it comes again, or maybe you'll be skeptic and say, oh no, it's not going to happen. No. He's being protected. All right. So there's my little rant on that, because I've been seeing it over and over again in comments on social media. Oh, they've done Braun Breaker dirty. You're crazy. All right. Number 1 contenders match, Undisputed, WWE title. This one I'm also looking forward to. Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn. This is a good one. This is important because I'm telling you, honestly, it could go either way. It's probably the one that I'm least confident in. That Finn Balor. I honestly, I think it makes sense that Finn Balor wins. I think it does make sense that now he is getting, after 10 years, pretty much to the day almost. He's finally getting the momentum he needs to win a main event title, a marquee title. And I do think he deserves it. I don't think you need, and don't get me wrong, I was so glad Sami Zayn won the title. Love Sami Zayn. He deserved it years ago. He deserved to have that title longer than he did. I think he deserved to even go into SummerSlam with this title. Okay? They wanted to do that Punk match, that Punk Cody match. I think it would have even made more sense if it was Zayn and Punk. All right? It could have been Zayn versus Cody, and Sami wins. Could have been a triple threat. Hell, I don't give a damn if Night of Champions was a triple threat. It could have been a triple threat with Zayn as the champion. Doesn't drop the title, but leaves Punk and Rhodes in a feud that leads to a heel turn for Cody. And then maybe leads up to a real match, one-on-one. This feud could have been built up all the way to the upcoming WrestleMania, right? Anyways, they had to keep that title on someone doing this match that they had not done in the WWE. Nevertheless, I think it makes sense for Balor to win, because I think it makes sense for Balor to take the title off of CM Punk, okay? Because I think it makes sense for Balor, babyface Balor, to have a short run with the world title. At least let him have it. The title that he should have had, this should have happened years ago. They were. I think they had a lot more plans for Balor to run with that undisputed title, the Universal title, when it came out back in 2016. I think they could have done so many things with him. I think they were trying to use the Universal title as a title built for guys like Finn Balor, built for guys who aren't necessarily going to be the guy that shows up to talk shows, right? The guy that's just like completely received and acclaimed by the mainstream audience, the casual fans. Rather, the workhorse champion. That's what Balor was. It ended up being Rollins soon after, and guys like Rollins, right? Now, so that being said, Balor should have a run with the WWE Championship. He loses it to Gunther. I wanted Zayn to be the one to lose to Gunther. It would have made sense. But now, as a result of taking the title off him, give Balor the title. I think Punk's, and here's the other thing, I think Punk's willing to do it. I think Punk's, if he's not going to give it to Balor, he's going to give it to Gunther. And at the very least, there will be a program between Balor and Punk for a title. They've done this before, but maybe they do it on a bigger scale for the world title, the WWE title now. They've done this before for the world title. Now they're doing it, they would do it for the WWE Championship. Give it to Balor. I've been saying it for several months. It's time. He's due. And he's ready. Give him the title. Let him have his moment. A couple more matches. Danhausen versus Dirty Dominic Mysterio. This is a feel-good match. After J.D. McDonough got a clear-cut win over Danhausen, or I can't even remember if it was a tag match with Dom and J.D. versus Danhausen and someone else. Was it Joe Hendry? I don't know. But J.D. got a pin fault over Danhausen. This is just a feel-good match. This is the let's go get some corn dogs and not really worry about what the hell happens. Or it's for the kids. They'll give a win to Danhausen. I don't see why they wouldn't. I could even see it makes little difference. If Dominic Mysterio, maybe he gets the human monies. This is, of course, for human monies, if I'm not mistaken. It's just like a ladder match. I don't know. I haven't looked into it much, nor do I really give a shit. It's ridiculous. And you know it is. So, that being said, would be funny if Dom wins, gets the bag of human monies or the briefcase, whatever the hell, opens it up, and it's just, play money. Who cares? None of this really is driving anything. If you find it entertaining, great. Sometimes I do find Danhausen to be entertaining. I think he's awesome in terms of, he just reminds me of someone from the Indies. He is, and he's just kind of has that humor that his gimmick could work anywhere. And apparently it even works in the WWE, and it's going, it's gone viral. It's crazy. It's going to go to Danhausen. Now, the one match that I wanted to talk about, because like a little bit more closely, just because I haven't been really thinking too much about it, but I'm very excited to see where they go with this. Is Trick Williams versus Baron Corbin? Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about how this feud is built up, because I know it's not much, but I was very happy to see Baron Corbin come back and come back the way he looks with his gimmick. The just lone wolf, pissed off, apocalypse. Now I don't give a shit. I'm the lone wolf in the apocalypse, and I'm bringing hell. That's the gimmick, okay? And I haven't even really looked closely enough to see if they've brought back his music, the music that it's out of the darkness. I'll bring the darkness. I forget the name of the song, but as soon as he came back, the first thing I did was go to YouTube and listen to it again. I was like, if you do not put this music back with this guy, you are. I don't give a damn the red tape, the legal tape. You better put this song back with this guy. It was one of the best songs, okay, that I can remember throughout the years where he was performing with this gimmick. Everyone knows that was there and loved that song. It was dark. It was evil. It was perfect for this guy. So he came. He's been feuding with Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. Just starting with. Just want to go back to. I'm going to look at my notes here. It was early June. He came back. He was gone for about 18 months. We had seen. I know he was in NXT doing some things, and he was. Based on what I had seen, he was more like his old self, his dark self. But my God, before that, when he was doing that Happy Corbin shit, I was so pissed. I can just do a whole video on how stupid that gimmick was, and it's just completely reflective of the creative of WWE and Vince McMahon, and the just putting some shit together and be like, here you go, fans, here you go, audience, digest this, and we're supposed to just accept it and be like, oh, that's Happy Corbin. Why the fuck is he happy? What the fuck does that mean? Sorry, I'm cursing now using the F word, because that's how stupid this was. That's how embarrassed I'd be to have to explain this to anyone who doesn't watch pro wrestling. Why the hell am I watching this guy? What the hell is this? Terrible. They did him so dirty. Now, comes back, crashes the match between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. And for the U.S. title, and essentially hits them with End of Days, both of them. I would have loved it if he had hit them with Deep Six. That's such a great finisher. It's like a side finisher. It's like kind of like it's his Blue Thunder Bomb to Sami Zayn's Haluva Kick, is the deep six. Both moves are awesome. So it's just so great to see this guy do the things. Is that the name of the song? Now I'm thinking of it. Is it "I'll Be Your End of Days"? It's like "I'll Be Your End of Days." I think it's called that. But what? That's his gimmick. It's so great. So holds up the U.S. title. It was July 24th SmackDown. He again attacks, blindsides Trick Williams. And a second attack while Williams was greeting like fans at ringside or something like that. Then Trick grabs the mic, calls Corbin a bald-headed bum, which, that sounds like something Trick Williams would say, but you gotta insult his baldness. Come on. It's a little below the belt, a little, what can I say? It's lowbrow. It's lowbrow humor. There's really nothing creative or crafty about that type of cut down. But he dares Corbin to fight one-on-one instead of stop jumping me and just let's fight one-on-one. And Corbin said, yeah, let's do it. Taking that title, it's done. Smart. Now they have a program. They have a backstory going back to the 2023 NXT episode, June 2023. That's what we did a little back search on these guys. Corbin teamed with Braun Breaker, beat Williams and Hayes in the Dusty Rhodes Classic, right? Of course, Corbin is a former U.S. champion, so this would be his second reign. Now, Carmelo Hayes is the wild card in this picture. He can jump in, cost either Corbin, the match, or Trick Williams the title. He can get involved. It's going to be a fun match, ground and pound, brawler, nothing too fancy, no spot fest, but they both can go. They can hit their spots. Expect to see something interesting happen. So, what I'm wondering is if Carmelo Hayes will jump in or get even more involved. I'm wondering what if anything will happen prior to SmackDown. We shall see. We shall see. Talking a little bit more about SmackDown. We got the WWE Tag Team Championships. This is kind of like the precursor. This is like the pre-match lineup before SummerSlam, and it's going to be in Green Bay. That's pretty cool, right? Green Bay gets a little taste of SummerSlam weekend. So, Priest and Truth versus Warrior has been waiting for this match for weeks. They've been talking about hyping it up. I'm wondering if there is going to be any kind of stipulations, any rules changes. I imagine winner takes all. I think R-Truth and Damian Priest have held those titles long enough. The AAA titles are kind of like under the WWE Tag Team Championship, so it makes sense for the underdogs, or like in any time you see these kind of moments where you have them, usually the guy, the team or the guy or the woman, whatnot, who has the mid-card title or the lower level title wins the bigger one. Just the easiest example would be the Ultimate Warrior defeated Hulk Hogan to win the WWE Championship when Warrior was the IC champion, right? Only exception I could think of is when Seth Rollins was the U.S. champion. He was the WWE champion, and he took, I believe, the U.S. championship off John Cena. And that's why I loved Cena during those years, because he was just so willing to just do whatever he thought was necessary in terms of putting other guys over, even if it meant giving a mid-card title to the big card title, the champion, the WWE title holder. That was excellent. Okay, because nobody was really, not only was nobody really expecting it, but Rollins was on a roll during those years, if you can remember. He was on fire. He was going to take everything that came his way, so it didn't matter. But yeah, it should be a good match. The other thing is, I honestly think that Priest and Truth could win. I think they're great with the titles. I love their back and forth. I like their chemistry. I love it when that they're the champs. But I just think there might not be much else for them to do for now with the titles. So, and I'd like to see the War Raiders with back in the spot that of consistency and relevancy. So yeah, let's see the War Raiders. Going back to Williams and Corbin and Hayes. Here's the thing. I got to mention this because I didn't talk about it enough in terms of who I think should win or what I think is going to happen. Here's the thing. Williams, I actually want to win just because I think his run is not over. Okay? So I think it actually makes sense for Williams to win. And I want Williams to win. At the same time, I don't, as if you can understand, I do not want Corbin to lose because I don't think he can. I don't think he can take a loss coming back like this. So the only safe bet here is to have Carmelo Hayes to get involved and cost this, just pretty much lead this match to a no contest or cost somebody the win, perhaps even lead to like I said, a no contest or even just a DQ, maybe in Corbin's favor, where Trick Williams holds the title. That would be something. Honestly, I don't think they should have just. I think it's great. I think it made sense to put Corbin right in the picture, just because to give him some, just basically some level of weight in terms of now he's going after that title. Clearly we have to put some eyes on this guy. I think it would make sense to keep the title away from Corbin, give him a program with somebody like a Carmelo Hayes. Or even just put him with somebody else, at least for the moment. Give him a program, and build him up and let him win in that program, that feud, okay? And it's okay that he had this moment with Trick Williams and or Hayes at the moment because it was his return. But maybe segue him out of something, get somebody else to maybe get involved with him to keep him away from the U.S. title picture and allow him to grow a little bit. And win a program, then go back and take out Trick Williams or Carmelo Hayes, whoever's going to end up with that title. So that's what I think is going to happen. I still think Williams is going to hold that title. Now, the other thing is okay, you're going to surprise me and let Corbin win? Yeah, I know. I wouldn't be upset if he did. I think there needs to be more momentum on this guy. A lot of investment was put into Baron Corbin, going all the way back to his NXT days. And his arrival on the main card roster, okay? And his gimmick, his look, his style, his the finishers. There was so much potential for this guy, and I want to see it get paid. I want to see the payoff. So yeah, and I have no doubt that Trick Williams would be okay even if he lost the title. But I'm going to go with a DQ, And if Trick Williams wins, okay, but keep Corbin in the picture, okay? Keep this going. So. There you have it. But I'm going to go with a DQ victory. Corbin, is the victor. So, had to get that out of the way. Going back to Julia Lash Legend. This is the final qualifier spot I already mentioned. Julia makes the most sense to win this one. Okay? And you're going to get a CM Punk Cody Rhodes face-to-face segment. This is the only time that I kind of want to say now. I honestly don't think it makes a difference what happens. I think it's going. The win is going to go to CM Punk. If you see Punk, get come out on top in this segment, that'll only put more fuel for the fire of Rhodes to turn heel once Punk wins on top of it. So I just really don't even need to worry about it. That's your previews and predictions for SummerSlam 2026. Night 1, Night 2 will be held August 1st, August 2nd. That's this Saturday and Sunday. Until then, I'm going to do a couple things. Probably going to watch Spider-Man, Brand New Day. I'm hoping Mephisto. I'm just going to spoil it. Because not that I know. But, I want to see Mephisto come out of nowhere. And I think he's the big bad that's going to be revealed in this movie that they're hiding. But I could be completely wrong. Watched The Odyssey already and loved it. Watched Evil Dead Burn. I think it was awesome for what it was. I loved Evil Dead Rise and I loved Burn, and they're already planning to do a prequel to this, going way back before the Evil Dead, the first Evil Dead. Hell yeah. Let's see another one following Burn in this new set of Evil Dead movies. I'm loving it. And those of you that didn't appreciate the Odyssey, you want to have a conversation, go ahead and talk to me in the comments, and have a whole debate on it, okay, on why the Odyssey was amazing, okay? And I think that Spider-Man will be fun too. Yeah. And play some Path of Exile 2. I'm still on Endgame. There's so much content in that game right now. Going to go through the entire league, and as soon as possible, so I can play more stuff. I like to take my time with this game and have fun with it. And if I feel like playing another game, I'll play another game. Yeah. And I've been reading some Chuck Palahniuk. I don't even know I never knew how you pronounced this. I'm actually using it to raise my mic. Palahniuk. Yeah, Palahniuk. Chuck Palahniuk. I read Damned, and now I'm reading Doomed. It's the sequel. I thought Damned was excellent for what it was. It was funny. I thought that it was it's like a kid's book that's totally not for kids. In other words, like a tween's book about a tween in hell, but it's just not for kids. It's just not for tweens. I don't even think it's. I mean, maybe they could. If you were in middle school or high school, you could handle it. But I don't know about this generation being able to handle something like that. So yeah, I don't think I could recommend it to a 13-year-old. But it is about a 13-year-old. Same guy who wrote Fight Club, so it's going to be ridiculous and funny and thought-provoking at the same time. So I liked Damn. Hopefully this one's as good or maybe better. We'll see. That's about it, guys. Almost an hour-long review. I didn't know if I was going to be able to handle this review because the heat right now it hit 100 degrees in Germany. That's not common. So when we get hit, we get hit. We do not have air conditioning systems throughout our houses. And the humidity was getting higher and higher. So, yeah, it was tough. But I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not tired. Let's do this. Giddy up. But, guys, it's been great. It's been great. Looking forward to SummerSlam. I am. I know you are too. Hit that like or subscribe button. Channel Cortez 33. Sometimes I tweet. Sometimes I post on Instagram. You might see it. You might not. You can still keep up. I'll be here on YouTube. Stay tuned for any posts that I sent. I might do a review after SummerSlam, following, like maybe after Monday Night Raw, after everything kind of clears, and talk about it. It's been great. And one more thing. I might even do a little trailer review of a certain show that's coming out on Apple TV. We'll talk about it later. I'm just going to drop that in. But until then, guys, you have a good weekend. Take care.